Hey, what's up, guys? You know, I love these images of America books they have at the Barnes and Noble, where wherever you go, the geographic location, they will have these a whole bunch of these books, pretty much with photos of like the last 3 centuries from the region you're in. Uh, I have a bunch of them. I'm a big aficionado of them. This one in particular, Ghosts and Murders of Manhattan, right? And that's a cool photo of I believe this is the courthouse. I'm trying to remember. Obviously, architecture was the interest I had later in life. So there's a lot of stuff that I probably walked past there as a kid, as a young man, or as a middle-aged man that I didn't think of. That now were fascinating. But you can see how cool. There's nothing like the atmosphere of like a nighttime shot of old architecture. You know, especially with the watch face on it. And this very Manhattan's nightscape, right? See here, 1937. You see how? Look at that. Look how atmospheric that is, right? The Cyclopean Towers, right? The city of the dead. Yeah, the courthouse, the Jefferson Market Courthouse, okay? In the village, Greenwich. Lovecraft used to hang out. Now, of course, the spookiness, like the ghost story part of this, is mixed up with like murders. Right, there's a lot of there's a lot of mayhem, or a lot of murderers in some of these. So we go through 'em. We'll start off right off the bat. What is this? Now remember the early last turn of the last century. There's a lot of violence, assassinations, the anarchists, right? The labor movement. Okay, of course, you have all these radicals doing stuff like this. So now my views are like the Haymarket thing and all that stuff. Is always, listen, man, I'm never for the pigs or the capitalists, right? But when you have psychopathic, anarchists and socialists blowing stuff up, and you're foreigners, what do you expect to happen? So what is this? In Union Square. Now we all know Union Square. There's always some protest going on at Union Square. But here, 1908, man, this is 2 years before my grandfather was born. To give you a sense of the time here, self-professed radical socialist Selig Cohen, who also called himself Selig Silverstein. You don't say. And there he is. Apparently, this dude was going to throw a bomb, but it went off in his hand. Good job, Selig. And obviously, a quick thinking policeman attached a tourniquet to Silverstein's arm. I would not have done that, but he says he was sorry he had not killed any policemen. But who did he kill? Who died with him? This moron, this psychopath, you could say. Some other working dude had nothing to do with it died. So, anyway, right, an innocent tailor, right? Good job, a comrade. Anyway, Washington Square. Right? You always think of Henry James, but I always think of people trying to sell me drugs and of street performers and cutting through this thing to get to West Fourth, to go to the old Village Comics, right? For anyway, the Manhattan people, but yeah, it was a potter's field at one point. There's a lot of people, dead people underneath this thing. So, potter's field. There's potter's fields all over the boroughs in Manhattan. So, mass graves. We go here. Look, the Grand Central Station, man. This is where all the metro trains go upstate into Connecticut. But remember the old building. Look how cool the old building was. Of course, you see ghosts, right? With the Brooklyn Bridge, the bunch of guys died making this. Yeah, and you had the trampling. You always forget some of the old New York mass deaths that would happen back then. Someone got trampled, right? 1883, a bunch of people got trampled. Oh, the draft riots. Oh no, don't show that. Oh, the 5 points. Yeah, 5 points. There's an old brewery. Apparently, they made a beer called Cutler's Beer. So it's probably kind of an ale, but there's gangs in New York stuff. Mulberry Street. Oh, Lovecraft is not amused. Not happy. The Chinatown. Oh, my Chinatown. Love. I spent so much time in Chinatown, man. I need to go back there and see what's left of it. The Bowery, when they had I know this is probably, maybe this is too New York centric. The Bowery. I mean, how many? I come down this thing millions, thousands of times. They used to have the elevated line on either side. That's an interesting configuration. A suicide hall. They used to mention these things from like the turn of the last century. They were still being mentioned in newspapers like in the 80s and the 90s. Oh, J.P. Morgan, motherfucker. Hey, all right, come on, capitalist pig. Helping the anyway. Of course, as people try to whack him, right? Someone tried to whack him. And someone tried to whack him with a bomb. So they're saying it was an Italian Mario. Mario did it, and a century later, Luigi. All right, but of course, right, the woman was decapitated. Can you imagine? So yeah, 38 people died. So you see that the mayhem continues. Oh, the old was this the Rhinelander Sugar House? So the British used this for prisoners during the Revolutionary War. Like they just. Let's put bricks in. Yeah, you can still hear people. They still run into ghosts, right? Oh man, no. So now the triangle. Okay, this is another thing from New York. The Triangle waist shirt fire, waist shirt fire, where these women were locked in, and this is you know me, these women were locked in, and there was a fire, and it was horrific. Plenty of them died inside. A lot of them jumped to their deaths. Some of them fell off the balconies, right? The fire escapes that were being built, which they weren't able to really escape that. It was horrific. It was pretty horrible. The labor people still would always commemorate this, right? And hey, Washington and Green. And then of course there's still ghosts there. So. Those evil capitalists, Max Blank and Isaac Harris, you evil capitalists, man. I know. Actually, I mean that. Yeah. And of course, the Empire State. Of course, remember the what is it? A B-25 hit it, man. That's interesting. Remember that. So we go through all here. We got the amazing architecture, the Ansonia Hotel. This thing is crazy. This thing is beautiful. Look at this, the Beau Art style or the Beau Art style. And of course in Chelsea, the Chelsea Hotel, right? Most famous, for at least in recent times, for Sid Vicious, right? Interesting. After he killed, what's the name? Or did he? Did he kill? Probably did. Now, of course, the most famous creepy place in Manhattan, of course, is the Dakota, right? Look at the architecture. I love that stuff. Yeah. Of course, that's what Mr. Lennon met his own. So really nice. Like I said, I could go over all these things. It wouldn't mean too much. I'm trying to find anything that's more interesting. Of course, Teddy Roosevelt was a police commissioner in New York at the time. I recommend the out in Oyster Bay, the home and the museum. But apparently, until 1973, from 1909, the department was at this building here. The police department, and I guess many policemen admitted similar strange experiences with working there. After working at the desk, he felt like he was being watched. He was seeing a short, intense man staring at him, who then disappeared. Right, Teddy was checking up on things. Man, the ghost of Teddy Roosevelt. I could imagine what he would be thinking right now. So, and also, everyone forgets that there was a New York Ripper, right, before the Lucio Fulci film. And you had this guy, Thomas Burns, head of the New York Police Department. He criticized London's handling of Jack the Ripper murders. I'm sure there's Irishmen getting revenge, right? And then the same thing happened in New York, right? In 1889. The woman was found, and a lot of people were found murdered in New York throughout the century. So, but she was pretty done up. And the letter was signed Jack the Ripper, stating he had come to America. That would be a great movie, right? That'd be a great film, like done like this style. What was that great film with Malcolm McDowell where he was H.G. Wells? Remember that movie with David Warner? Anyway, of course, everyone forgets Poe was in New York. Poe wrote a lot of his best stuff when he was up in the Bronx. Right, and the Mystery of Mary Roget, right? One of his, everyone forgets my man pretty much invented the modern detective story. It's based on an actual woman found. Right, found in the Hudson. Interesting. Oh, Aaron Burr. Are you a Burr? Are you for Burr or for Hamilton? Actually, I think I prefer Burr. And he won that, so if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, look at this. This Civil War battlefield. It looks like World War One stuff, right? This is when photography came out, when this war was going on. So, my man Booth, Six Semper Tyrannis. Yeah. Oh, what are you saying? All right, this one. Yeah, remember this was the famous. Oh, what was it? The art. I forgot the photography was becoming less of like just taking a picture or something, right? And then like becoming more like paintings, right? This is like when the turn of the last century. You know, but you had this woman. I remember her, very haunting, very beautiful woman. So, but she was, treated really badly. And this nut, right? Harry K. Dahl, right? This guy was a maniac, and he got out of the asylum somehow, declared sane, and then he did something with a boy. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, anyway, and he good. He fucking died in this asylum in Philly. Look, now you can see this is not New York. None of you would know, but you could. Looking at this, I go, this is Philly. Okay, you don't have anything like this in New York, like this kind of building. No. Anyway, and then you get to all the gangsters. Look at all these Italians. Well, there is one. Dago Frank Serafosi. These are friggin' Italian scum, like Jack Rose. Oh, Charles Becker, Whitney Lewis, Harry Jip the Blood Horowitz, and Lefty Lewis Rosenberg. Whoa, they don't sound Italian. Arnold Rothstein. There you go. So, Dutch Schultz. A lot, man. But I tell you one thing, but these guys all got whacked pretty bad, but these Italians. Oh, well, of course, there's Hamilton himself. Right, Burr beat him in that duel. So of course, I believe he didn't want to do it. So I believe that he didn't want to shoot at Burr, and Burr wanted to shoot at him. So you get all the now you want to talk about a real New Yorker. My favorite New Yorker is not even a New Yorker. He's a New Amsterdamer, right? Peter Stuyvesant. This dude was no joke, man. This dude was no joke. Pretty much Greenwich Village was his plantation at the time. And you get the St. Mark's Church, right? It looks a little more spiffy now, but yeah, they still see Peter Stuyvesant. Yeah, I will put this dude in charge, man. You would be running for your lives, you scumbags. That's right. He wanted to fight the British, and all the Dutch merchants said, no, give in to the British. That's why it's now New York. So, anyway, he could go on forever with this stuff. A lot of cool things. We'll end it off here. Henry Clay Frick. Now, you know me, the capitalist pigs, the robber barons, but, Alexander Berkman, Emmett Goldman's boyfriend, right? If you know your anarchist history. So try to whack this dude, but it's obviously there were workers that he grabbed him and beat the piss out of this dude. So, but Berkman said his first shot missed Frick. He even said he missed because he was nervous. He missed because sunlight was shining in his eyes, but it seems unlikely. The office window faced north, so something made him not shoot. Something tells me it was nerves. But, of course, Frick was saying that the ghost of his daughter appeared and saved his life. Maybe. So, anyway, like, as usual, my views on these things are nuanced. As someone who, in this time of the country, would be more on the leftist side of things, okay? Obviously, in hindsight, Anyway, you just take a look at the 2 months. So, who would you rather have a beer with? Oh, come on. You're gonna be like Morgan Library recommended. I went here with my fiance. Very awesome library, even if it was this J.P. Morgan jerk off. But I recommended the Pierpont Morgan Library, right? Oh, the Jefferson Market Courthouse. I remember this. Look at that architecture, man. So I need to go and see. I think it's still, yeah, they haven't, New York didn't knock this down at least. And all right, I'll round it out here. Boss tweet, the Tammany Hall, right, was, of course, you could argue it existed into the 20th century. The corrupt, of course, the Tammany courthouse, right, on Chambers Street, right? You know, the Chambers Street, used to cut down Chambers Street if I would drive in to go to work. But this guy here, Boss Tweed, they were making alliterations to him and Tammany Hall as a metaphor for corruption in New York City well into the 90s in the newspaper. Okay, like, if you said Tammany Hall, people were still referring to these dudes. I guarantee you, as corrupt as they are, it was probably not anything like you have now. So, I don't know. Oh, the tomb, oh, that's the old tombs. Oh, Harkham Asylum, the old tombs. Right? Of course, the tombs is where these are cool, right? The walkway, right? The tombs is where if you got in trouble in New York and it was Friday, you would be held at the tombs with the infamous Kool-Aid and bologna sandwich meals, so, and more of this great architecture. So I need to go here. I don't think that the old New York Times building, I think, is gone, but look at that. Look how gothic it is. And I'm going way, way beyond. So, good book, great book. Belasco. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I mean, there's so much here. Oh, Washington. Cool little book. Maybe only good for New Yorkers, but yeah, this you can imagine the mayhem and the chaos. And if you can see between the lines, you can see a few other things in it. So because the pictures don't lie, do they?